Friends, just imagine a man, only 32 years old, and he had changed almost the entire map of the world, from Greece to Egypt, Persia, and the gates of India. Everywhere his flag flew. But there was one place he never went, a land that was only a few days' sail from his home in Greece, Italy, Rome. The very Rome that 200 years later would rule the entire world. The question is, the man who was determined to conquer every corner of the world, why did he leave the closest, seemingly easiest target untouched? Was it just coincidence? Or was there a deeper reason behind it? First, it's important to understand what Alexander's real goal was. Alexander's entire life mission was one thing: to defeat the Persian Empire. This was the empire that had threatened Greece since his father Philip's time. Persia was rich, powerful, and defeating it was the ultimate honor. Italy at that time, friends, was nothing special. Rome was just a growing small power, fighting with the tribes around it. It had neither the wealth of Persia nor the fame of Egypt's pyramids. But here's a very interesting point. Some of Alexander's close associates knew about Italy, and this knowledge later becomes quite significant. We'll come back to that in a bit. And as Alexander moved further east, his focus shifted entirely to Persia, then Afghanistan, and finally India. He never had the time to look back west toward Italy. Now, friends, this is where the story gets even more interesting. Alexander returned from India, reached Babylon, and didn't stop. He immediately began preparing for his next campaign. According to historians, Alexander's next big target was Arabia. But the plan after that? To move westward, Carthage, Sicily, and yes, the entire Western Mediterranean, including Italy. So it would be wrong to think that Alexander ignored Italy. The truth is, he was about to head in that direction. But in 323 BC, in Babylon, Alexander suddenly fell ill. Within just a few days, at the age of 32, he was dead. Remember I mentioned that some people knew about Italy? In fact, around the same time, Roman diplomatic delegations were in contact with the Greek world, and later Roman historians themselves write that Rome feared Alexander would one day come for them too. The Romans themselves were afraid. Here the question arises, friends, if Alexander had lived and actually moved toward Italy, what would have happened? Historians still debate this today. Some say Alexander's army, which had already defeated powerful empires like Persia and India, would have easily crushed a rising small power like Rome. But on the other hand, some historians also say that Italy's mountainous terrain, Rome's strong alliance system, and the Romans' famous resilience, all of this together would not have made it as easy for Alexander as Persia was. The truth is, we can never know the definitive answer, because Alexander's death turned this entire question into a permanent what if, and it was this very void, this very death, that created another opportunity for Rome. After Alexander's death, his empire was divided among his generals, who began fighting among themselves, and no attention remained on the West. So friends, the real answer is this: Alexander didn't invade Italy because his entire life was focused on the East, toward the great empires of Persia and India. Italy at that time wasn't a major target, but it's also true that he intended to move in that direction, if death hadn't stopped him in time. And perhaps this is the biggest what-if in all of history. If Alexander had lived just a few more years, perhaps Rome would never have become the empire we read about in history books today. One man's illness may have changed the future of the entire Western world. If you want to find out how Alexander's empire fragmented after his death, and how that fragmentation opened the door for Rome, then hit that subscribe button. The next video is dropping soon.